Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2024 Family Tree Maker Suggested Innovations voting session. Uh, the the suggestions we're voting on were everyone that was submitted last year and the one that was already submitted for this year. And then anyone that brought up a suggestion that was already on file from the past year is on there. And then we also had for about a week and a half prior to this a nomination so people could nominate things that older suggestions to be brought on this list. So we currently have 108 items. You've got basically two voting uh, options for something you definitely want, or then don't care. Whether you mark don't care or leave it blank, it's the same result. It's just you're not voting for it or against it. In this link here, which is in the voting form. This is the actual voting form you'll be seeing. We'll bring up the list of all the current suggestions on file. So if you want to read it more, and more importantly, if there's one you need further discussion, so say this one, you can scroll over here and click on this link, and this will bring you up to the discussion right in the Family Tree Maker group. And if you aren't a member of the Family Tree Maker Suggested Innovations group, you'll have to join the group in order to see it. And here's the link to that. So I'll just go right down the line, and I'm going to just explain exactly what every suggestion is, since a little one-liner sometimes doesn't fully encompass everything. So under the category backup, it says to have a unique name for every backup, even though it's done on the same day, because by default, it will be your tree name and then today's date. Well, if you do another backup the same day, it's going to say, well, do you want to overwrite it? And a general rule of thumb is you never want to overwrite your last good backup. So under color coding, the options for more colors, or this has actually been appended some, so it's more colors or options, where it could also entail, rather than just have more colors, which could be more difficult to discern, but also throw in like patterns, number symbols. Color layers and schemes. This is because you can have different color coding for different things based on what you're working on. So basically, you'd set up the layers or schemes is kind of like from a paint program setting, but basically it's saying, okay, I'm working on this line, so I want the color coding to be this. Okay, now I'm working on this other line, so I want the color coding to be this. Or I'm doing this book, so I want the color coding to be this. You don't have to remember how you color coded each of them. You could just say, okay, I want like color coding option 1, and then 2, then 3. Then it will go through and change all of them that you'd preset. Have color coding next to people on the Places tab. So that's like, you can have color coding here, but if you go to the Places tab, well, this one has only got one person associated with it, but let me just take up another spot where, you could have the color coding be displayed on here next to all these people as well. So now down on display, be able to increase the number of generations on the main screen. So that's like on here. And then I think this also, because you're limited, I think, to 5 generations. And then some people with the 4K displays would like to see more. And then there's another suggestion here is then also when you're in the family view to be able to see more generations. Be able to, in people view, the ability to use the back arrow or mouse to go back toward the previous person. I mean, I'm sure we've all done it. We've been working on one person and maybe we accidentally clicked on someone. We accidentally clicked on someone here, and then, oh, I meant to be on this person, or you accidentally clicked over here. Okay, now who was I just on? Just a way to get back to who you were on. Ability to select preferred relationship when multiple relationships exist. Some of you may know, I don't know if this is a good example, but if you go through the relationship calculator, oh yeah, well, this is a good thing, because here there's multiple relationships that show, and you could say which one you'd want to be the preferred relationship you'd like it to show. That wasn't the best example because I mean I've got some where it's like I've got an 8th great grandfather that's also my 9th great grandfather because I'm descended from 2 or 3 of their kids who their grandkids have married together, and sometimes you can get where one of the siblings that you're also descended from, all of a sudden they'll say, well, you're the uncle of or great uncle of, rather than you're a great uncle but you're also a great grandparent. Be able to display multiple parents on screens, charts, and reports. This is for people that they may have biological parents attached and adopted parents, or maybe step parents, if they're very close. Be able to see both sets of parents. And more control over formatting dates, especially we're concerned to living people. Because right now with living people is either all or nothing, basically. You can privatize the file and then it would just say, well, private, and then their surname or living surname. But sometimes it's like, well, they want the names to display, but not the dates, or maybe just the year, for anyone living. Just basically give more control over how living data is displayed. Under editing, delete media and citations when deleting an individual. Because right now, I could say just delete this person, but that would leave this media and any these citations still in the tree. It will not delete them. They just remain there unlinked. I mean, unless they're also linked to someone else, but just deleting the person will not delete the media or the citations. Ability to ignore errors so they don't show up as future errors. This is on the data errors report. Certain things might be, certain things like spouse has the same surname. The spouses have the same surnames. Well, there are some cases in my tree that exists. And if you do Scandinavian, Norwegian, that can also be because, they'll go by their farm name. So it's not an error. And of course, the data errors is just potential errors, but it'd be nice to have them flagged as, oh, okay, this is not an error. Ability to pause, resume, find, and replace. Find and replace, that's a great feature for finding things in your tree. Say if I want to find anyone, say, that's got age in fact, because I don't like it when it puts the age in with the facts, like that, but you can go to it, but there can be lots of people. But if you come down to it, come back tomorrow and do a search, guess what? It starts all over from the start. So it'd be just a way you can pick up where you left off, save where you're at, and pick up where you left off. Have a fan club for a person. Most of you may know fan club fan stands for friends, associates, and neighbors. This thing's like on a marriage certificate, where the people who stand up, they may not be blood relatives, but neighbors. So just as a way of recognizing that. Same thing with baptisms, confirmation, for sponsors and whatnot. Add a time field to the date area. So, sometimes with the birth, you may know, hey, they were born at 3:33 p.m. Okay, be able to uncheck places with facts checked for searching. This is back here when we do a search. You can't uncheck places, because you may be looking for something that's just in the description field. So you don't want to actually search places. But if you check facts, which you have to in order to search the description, it's automatically going to search the place name field too, like Prairie du Chien here. If I was looking for, Prairie Farm or something, well, any place that came with in Prairie du Chien would also show up. So, or likewise, if I look for the word twin, and if we have Twin Falls, Idaho, that would show up, even though that's not what I'm looking for. I'm only looking for the description field. Okay, keep the results list to find an individual active after go to. Because now this is under edit, find individuals, or yeah, find individual. You can do things like say, like birth, let's just say that's about the only way right now you can say, okay, I want to look for anyone where I've got like an about in a date. And it's like, okay, I've got quite a few. So, okay, I want to go look at this person. We'll see, I've got 728 of them. Okay, so I'll do some research, see if I can find a more precise date. But now if I want to go to the next person, well, guess what? I've got to go over here. I got to select birth. I got to select about, and I got to click find all over again. And so basically as a way of saving this information. And so you can go back to it. And, okay, so okay, be able to split a person into two separate people and allow choice of which fact source goes with each person. I mean, I've had this happen to me twice where I've been merging records and found out, oh, these are two different people with the exact same name and near the same location. So here, I had to split them and then decide which facts go with which person. Uh, and then now here, instead of creating an unknown spouse, now an unknown spouse is just a placeholder, it's not an actual person. Have the option for a family to automatically create a dummy person with a user definable name such as 5 underscores. Because let's see, is this a good person to, because let's just say Prudence, well, let's just say I found out, well, I don't know who she married, but say, oh, I know she got married in 1645. So a marriage is a shared fact. Well, guess what? I just created an unknown spouse. Now, there are ways to get around it, but what they're doing is saying, well, rather than create the unknown spouse, just create an actual person, an actual placeholder name person. And so now then if I do know, oh, okay, this person is George Henry Smith, then I can add that. But basically to allow it, so there's never technically an unknown spouse. Okay, under facts, okay, allow a parent, child, or any non-spouse multiple person shared fact. This kind of ties into a fan club, but there's other uses too, like DNA matches. Because right now, any shared fact, well, it's only between two people, and then Family Tree Maker immediately assumes, okay, they're a spouse or a partner. Well, if it's a DNA match, it's like, well, hopefully you're not a match to your spouse, but so basically have a way of having shared facts that aren't marriage or partnership related. More fact options for fact displays, such as only place and description. Right now, if we go under edit manage facts, bring up the properties, you can have date place description, you can have description only. Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, we want just place description, or maybe you might want just a date or just a place. Basically have more options than just those three. Because that will also pertain to, it's like when on this customized view here on tree view, it will display those fields. So like here I've got some, that, okay, yep, they're description only. Well, if I want a date and place, well, I have to settle for date, place, description, which it takes up an extra line. And, by only displaying just the fields you want to display for each fact type, you can possibly get more facts to be displayed on there. Be able to word wrap the description field of a fact. That's a good one because let me get to some, because like here, see on this description field, you can have, especially this, well, there's a lot of detail and you can't see it all. So if it could word wrap it or have a pop out window or something, so it can see it. From tree view, be able to quickly add an alternative fact and count of alternative facts. So if you were, say, displaying, residence or census, that's a good one because most people will have multiple ones of those. It only displays the preferred fact, and all preferred means is like in instances like this where you can only display one fact. So I'm going to show the displayed fact. Well, even here, well, there's lots of them. Well, one that's saying, okay, I want to see a count of how many, and also be able to say, oh, okay, I know where they were in 1960. I'd like to be able to add another alternative fact rather than go to the person tab, click on add residence, and go through all that, just to have a quicker way of entering it right from here. Okay, so now filters. Okay, ability to have access type queries. What that is, it basically gives greater control over filters because you can do a lot greater includes, excludes. It gives you more tools than like what's in here. For instance, be able to say, okay, I want to include these people, but say I don't want to say, I want to look at, say, these people, but say my family I know I've already taken care of, so let me automatically exclude the descendants of my parents. Right now you really can't do that other than, say, manually selecting them and doing that. It just gives you a lot greater control over it. Add the ability to filter on color. So you say, okay, I wanted to see the people who have got the red color or the yellow, green, blue, whatever. Be able to filter or search for just a first or a surname, because you could look for, say, okay, I know I want someone, their name is John, and well, that's also going to find like Johnson on surnames, or vice versa. Sometimes, I mean, I know someone with the last name of K. If you want to try to do that. Um, be able to filter on by calculated hidden fields. So what this would be is like things, well, a certain hidden field I call is like something is like, well, here, this relationship, father. Let's just say you'd want to say filter, I want to follow, any first cousin. Well, right now you can't, because you can't read this you can't read this relationship. Another thing would be is say I would want to find everyone that died, say, before the age of 12. Well, you can't. You'd have to generate a report, uh, a custom report, because that's the only one where it gives you, say, age of death, and then would give you the ability. Then you'd have to sort by that, and I mean, it's out of Family Tree Makers, control there. Um, be able to being able to filter people that have private items. You know, uh, that can be things you can mark private. You can run reports and you can tell it to not include the private, or to say, okay, also include private, but you can't say, okay, what's just all marked private. Um, be able to filter in just X number of generations. When you create a filter, uh, you can when you say filter in the ancestors, it'll tell you how many descendants, how many generations of ancestors you want. But if you do descendants, it's like, nope, boom, it's all the descendants. You don't have a thing that's saying, well, I only want two generations of descendants or three. You just don't have that option. So this is what it's asking for. Option to auto sort and be able to manually sort filters. Now, if you're a Mac user, you're saying, well, it automatically sorts filters. Well, on Windows, it does not automatically sort, and you've got no way of rearranging them. If I wanted, say, this crows one clear at the end, I would have to delete it and recreate it. Then, because any new ones always show up at the end. There's no way of rearranging it. Now, if you're on the Mac automatically sorts them by date. You don't have an option. So it would automatically sort all these. So like these with Dorothy, these ones, because I'll use a double color coding system when I'm working on this one line. Because I've got 11 children, but only 8 colors. So I'll use a dual color coding. Well, and these are in the order of birth. So I know how I want these color coded. So now if they sorted it, well, I'd have to come up with an entirely different naming scheme just so that they stay in that order. So basically, it's just giving away more ways you can either manually sort them or auto sort. Okay. Okay. Want to be able to filter for those without a profile image, or basically, it just wants a way of finding who doesn't have a profile image. Okay, these people that do. You know, just basically finding, okay, see there, I don't have a profile picture. It's just a way of saying, who don't I have pictures for? So I can look for them. Like me, if I got a picture, great. If not, I will do their tombstone. photo, but some I don't even have that. Be able to print out filter conditions. Now for basically a report so that you can print out this filter condition. This one is like to find out anyone who is alive there that should be there in the 1950 census. Now this one's not bad. You could do a screenshot, but if you've got more than 6, 7 conditions, well, you can't print it out in one. You'd have to do multiple screenshots, and since you can't import filters to another one that can be to another tree, that can be a pain. So if you could at least print out the conditions in a report, you could retype it in on the other tree. And then here to have a filter report to show couples without children. It's easy you can create a filter for those that say have no parents, but there is no such filter for those that have no kids. Here we have this request for different language versions of the program. I know in 2017 they did have a German version. This most recent one was for an Italian version. Be able to select the font and size and notes. And I believe this is a Windows specific one because Mac, I believe you can do that. But if you go into a notes, it's like, I mean, you can make them bold, italic, but you can't change the font or anything. I do believe if you do it, say something Notepad, you can copy and paste over, but not within Family Tree Maker, you can't. And like I said, Macs, you do have that option. Have a pop-out date calculator. This is one for, certain dates, click on any date, do it. They'd like this to be able to stick out and maybe even get a little bit more functionality. Because this person is working on multiple people. Well, before you do anything else, I mean, you have to close that. So basically be able to keep that open. In areas where you can select the name from the index, have the same sort options like the main name index. Because see on the name angle, we can sort by given family name, here by family name, by given name, so it's going to sort by the first name. It can sort by birth date, marriage date, death date, everything. But like if you do something where, let's just say on here, let's just say he married someone else and I know the person's in my tree. You can click on this to bring up the list. Well, you've got no option. It's sorted by the surname, and you don't have the options like you do over here. So they're just basically asking for similar options. Option for granduncle versus great uncle. And likewise, uncle could also be aunt, niece, nephew. Right now, you go up here and then let me go up another generation here. Yeah, see, I'll say great uncle. Some people would prefer grand uncle. I'm in the grand uncle because to me that makes more sense. The siblings of your the siblings of your say your grandparent are going to be your grand aunt uncles and not great aunt uncles. So, because then it goes great grand, and then this would say great great. I mean, you count the G's. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just a matter of semantics. They want option, whether you want grand or grand or great. And allow change in the database to open access for third-party access. The database is kind of a locked system. So basically, if you want anything extra, basically you have to rely on the company to basically give it to you. Where If it was open access, like numerous other genealogy programs are, you can use third-party things to give you greater control. And especially when it comes to writing reports and, just for finding out and correlating information. Certain things are, it's like if you want to find, where Smith married a Jones, you can't do that right now, at least not easily. This is a new one. Make a program more friendly for storing a tree on network drive. This is where you don't have an actual drive letter, but maybe a network path. Evidently, Calendar Maker, at least on the Mac, has some issues with that. And likewise, if there's anything where you're saying, well, what exactly is that? You can copy that reference number, open up the innovations tab, which was that link up there. Just do a search for it. There it is. You can click on the link. Click on the link and then you can, oh, that was the wrong one. Then here you can read up on it. So yeah. And for hints available to see photo hints, because this I noticed, on my grandpa here, I just grant these. Well, the tree's not in sync now because of that recent change, but it shouldn't matter. Here it shows I got 3 hints here. But now if I actually go to Ancestry site, and look up, and go to my uncle, well here, okay, 8 hints. Well, see here, there's some photo hints, and these do not show up. Now, these I've already got. These are coming from cousins of mine that have put them in their tree, but so I don't want these, but they don't show up unless I go to Ancestry site and rely just on Family Tree Maker. I wouldn't even see them. So, okay, import export. This I touched on earlier is like basically be able to import other items from another tree. Like, okay, I want to import how I got the color coding, or import filters, tasks, report settings. You could have saved charts, reports, be able to import them. If you do an export, be able to make the pop-up window larger and provide more information. Because if we go to File, Export, and do it for selected individuals, it just gives name and dates. And I mean, that's it. We can't, I mean, I can make the box taller. I can stretch it out this way, but I can't provide any more information. So basically give more information. Support for JEDCOM 7. Now this might be a moot point, but last article someone posted, it didn't, Family Tree Maker didn't have a commitment to doing it, even though Evgen, who's one of the lead developers, was on the initial committee that came up with the JEDCOM 7 standard. So anyway, that's just a more way of doing a universal support for other programs, which will also include media finally. So down on media now, ability to have subfolders on media. So basically they're wanting, like say on here, for a person's media, files. Now, basically, be able to have folders within here. So here we got some census images. Here's, photos. Here's like World War II draft registration, got citation, be able to be able to have folders within here, or to have categories, but I know they specifically ask for folders. Linking to existing media, have it default to the last media item added. That I know is like, say, if you add a media item and then say, okay, say it's a picture of husband and wife. You add it to the person, you go to the wife, and then it's like it always defaults to the last linked image. So since we added it and didn't link it, it's always going to go, it'll go to the top or to the last linked image you did do. So if there's a fan group photo, and I selected the photo, then for each subsequent one, it will come up to that photo. But basically just have it always come up to the last photo you add or link. And this is kind of the thing, okay, ability to search medias when attached to existing media. Some of these are kind of all along the same thing, because it's like when you go to link, it's like, yeah, you can maybe go by category, or person, but then you got to find the person. Here's another one of those things where it lists the person. You don't have any other option on how it's sorted. Go to all media, but the best thing you can do is you can type the first letter and it'll take you to, like, here I type G. But that's it. That spot is the only help you get. So basically have a better way of finding media, because especially, it's not bad if you've got a few dozen or even 100, but I've got over 15,000 media items. And then like add a search bar for me, so you could type in partial names. So maybe it's not like, I don't know what started with, but I know maybe Ruben was in the title. Specify directory for find all missing media. So if you're on the media tab, you tell it find missing media, and there's missing media. And let's just say specifically where that media is. And especially if it's more than one item. If it's one item, you can point to it and say, here it is. But if it's one, it's like, oh yeah, I moved this group over here, and it's like, they just want to say, I want to just point, okay, look at this directory for it. Well, it defaults to searching your whole hard drive, which just takes longer. And it has a potential of finding media that's not the actual media you want. Better ability to search and find media. So like I said, these are kind of tied up to those other ones. Be able to type more than one letter when searching for media, because like I said, it'll only take the first letter. If it starts with GR or something. Be able to sort media within categories, such as by type. So that's like, if you're on media, you can display by category. But let's just say you'd want to do further sorting, like documents. You'd want these maybe sorted by birth certificates, one for death certificates, or even marriage. Just have kind of sub other ways of sorting them. Oh, and from the find missing media tool. So if it did find there is a missing media, you can actually go straight to either the person or the citation that's linked to. So you can either determine, well, is it really missing, or is this like an extraneous link that I can just unlink it? Because right now it's like, okay, my finding missing, you got to find it in the main media tab, go to the media detail, and it's about a 3-4 stage process. So on the name index, have a split entry box for surname first mill when searching for names. This is kind of related to that first one, where it's like, say, someone say, hey, if I know, okay, I know her middle name was Alice. I don't remember what her first name was. Um, you could search just for that without it hitting every Alice in between, every Alice for a first name. Uh, and also be able to search the name index for any part of the name, because like no matter, you got different ways you can sort it, whether surname or something like that. But I could start, say, typing in can, well, that's fine. But if I want like a middle name or surname, it's always what it starts with. So it's more options than searching for that. For notes, be able to adjust the tab spacing on notes. So if you type in a note, uh, tabs are fixed. What you don't have any way of adjusting those tabs. So that's just when you hit the tab key on the keyboard. Under people, on person tab, have option to display the age when the facts occurred. So basically, when you're on here, have it display the age. I know you can display the timeline, but then you can't really see the sources as well, or who has sources and notes, like you can on here. So basically, have like an option to have an age column here. Um, when merging duplicate people, have the option to merge duplicate family members too. Sometimes this can be, especially if you merge trees together, you may find someone, okay, yep, these two guys are the same person, and then one you may have say wife was Alice Smith, and another one you'd say, well, I know her name was Alice. But it could merge the wife and possibly the kids too, because you may have them duplicated as well. When you're on your relationship view, be able to see the marriage dates as well. So if you click on relationships, it gives birth and death, but be nice to show the marriage dates, for the spouse and stuff. So places have the ability to permanently add, edit place names in the place database. That's been a long going request. Just so you can permanently add places in it so that they can stay resolved, or even edit. Maybe you want United States of America rather than USA, or occasionally, you may even find there's a typo in the database, but right now you can't change it. Allow sorting by street name, the number, and places. So if you store the actual address in the place field, if you have like 110 Main Street, that would be followed by 110, or that could be preceded by, say, 110 Ash Street, but then 20 Ash Street would be after 110 Main Street, because how it sorts. The 20 would go after 11. So have it sort by the street name and then the street number. If you resolve all places, be able to select multiple locations to mark ignore. So that's on the resolve all place name to say, well, let's just say these. Okay, I know I'm not, so maybe just I'd want to be able to select multiple ones of these and say ignore, rather than doing it one at a time. Be able to create maps based on criteria and filters. And what this is saying is he wants to be able to create a map, say a filter of like, here's all the descendants of this person. Well, I want to see everywhere where they were born on one map. Or, even possibly say, okay, I want to see where they're born, married, and died, or just died, or maybe just see where they're all buried and have that show up on the map. You can, any maps on that, you can do like a timeline for one person. But, here basically be able to do it from a filter of people. On the plan tab, just want an area to have a general tree description, info, notes. Right now, you would have to put it as a task. Because see, I don't use tasks generally; they're just little notes. But if you're someone that uses tasks extensively, well, this isn't the best place to do it. So just some general knowledge about the tree itself, and it's not tied to any one specific person. Under publish, better handling the stepchildren, which right now it's fine. It all boils down to, like, on reports, if you want the descendants, it normally won't include stepchildren unless you actually attach them to the step parent. But then relationship wise, then even if you do mark it as the relationship of step, the kids will still print, but relationship wise, then it's going to say, well, you're the biological parent. So it'll say, okay, I'm attached as a stepfather, but now he'll show as a son rather than as a stepson. He'll print on the report, but now if I break that link and on relationship, it'll say he's a stepson, but he won't show up in the reports. So if you run it, say for me, create a report for duplicate individuals function. So if you do the tools to check for find duplicate people, yeah, I'll say load the save list. I want to be able to print out this list. Add page numbers to charts. Some charts don't always print the page numbers. Have that option. Option I have color coding show up on reports and other places. Family Tree Maker. This is a more general one for that one where specifically they want the color coding on the places tab. But they'd also like those color codings to show up, on a descendants report, an outline descendants report, or on charts, to have them to have these color codings show up. Have a family calendar history of the day. You can do a calendar report, but you're limited to, I don't know, 6 items, maybe 8 if you do tiny print. And basically they just want to say, oh, okay, your ancestors, maybe immigrated, landed in New York or Quebec today, in 1845. As well as maybe so-and-so died or born, stuff like that. Just have a family history of the day. Okay, allow batch reports, family group sheets, timeline reports, media items. All these are like family group sheets. They'll only work for one person, one family. So basically, it wants basically to say, okay, generate this report, but I want it like for all the descendants. I don't want it just for this person. So then, like, to run to the next person, you gotta go to the next person, run it from there, then go on, do it, where it's just one fell swoop, you can do it. Allow more than 3 colors for boxes on charts. That was um, yeah, because see if we do it, what boxings are is you can have 3 colored boxes or markings. Yeah, I wonder what chart I just created. How many generations I told it to do. Oh, a lot. Oh yeah, I told it to do, yeah, Buko descendants. So you can say, okay, I want okay, I want to mark this one with marking 1. This one with marking 2. See, you've only got 3 markings. And those are defined up here, You can specify the border with, so you basically got like 4, whether you the marking that you use for everyone, um or you've got 3 other markings and basically give you more options. So uh option not use frames when exporting to RTF. If anyone's done that, it'll put frames on any like paragraphs that split between them. So it makes editing a royal pain. Um, and then here's a good thing, like have an option to not auto generate charts and reports, because like I said, as I went into there, um, some reports don't take that long. Like I said, if you do one where it's like, okay, I want more things, but then each time you change a setting, well, it automatically regenerates. And like I said, 2 generations not bad, but when I had it, for 7, 8, 9, it can take a little while. So just have an option to say, don't auto generate. Let me set all the options. Then I'll tell it to generate chart, which there is a button for already. Um, so option have the outline descendants report like it was in Family Tree Maker 2006. Basically, it's my understanding, because that one, if you did an outline descendants report, it you had the option to list the parents of spouses, where the current one doesn't. Uh, then can see, well, because they aren't a descendant, but a lot of people still like that option. Um, and I believe in the narrative reports, it will say that, it's like they married so and so, parents are so and so. Be able to have a combined migration map, because that's like on the timeline where you can see how someone moved throughout their life. And basically, you'd be able to combine stuff so you can add in all the family members. And so you can see, okay, maybe, okay, here's how your ancestor came over, but then maybe you might want to see where his brothers and sisters also came and maybe parents. Uh, so option print year only or lifespan on a fan chart. So if you do a fan chart, uh, oh no, that's under charts. You really don't have an option. It's like you pick the facts. Uh, you can say whether or not you want to place a description. They basically want, just maybe give the option, say, displaying just the lifespan, which I don't think, they do give you lifespan, but I wonder maybe that person didn't know that. So, well, maybe it can do it, but that was the option. Well, actually, that probably can do it. But so, okay, maybe that one doesn't need to be on. Okay. Be able to change font size on a per box basis on chart. So basically, if you're on this chart, you know, I'd want, maybe you'd want this font to be one size. The font for this one, maybe the female, you'd want to be a different font or size. They just want that option on a per thing basis. And I think primarily is maybe you got some people with extremely long names to say, okay, maybe those people I want to shrink it down. And charts don't use the title areas as unusable for the whole width. Some charts where the title is, even if you don't use the title, that area is blocked off. This chart's not one of them, but some charts are that way. Then be able to manually adjust box sizes. So like this person said, okay, I want to manually just increase this one box size. Be able to bring up all fact types sorted by description field. That was, well, under edit manage facts, you can bring up you can bring up all for a specific fact type, and I can sort by description. Someone wants to be able to basically bring up all facts and be able to sort by the description field. Right now, you'd probably have to create a custom report, bring in every single fact, export it, and do it that way. Be able to arrange and create subfolders for saved charts and reports. So any saved charts and reports down here, because if you create a report until it's saved, it doesn't save it to your computer. It saves it down here, which can be really handy if you use the bookmaking feature, is to have these charts and reports already saved. I've got a few, but if you've got, I know some people they'll have hundreds. So be able to create folders for these, and probably for books too. Add a flush left option for the alignment on charts. That's this one right here. Basically, when it prints a chart, you really don't have the option. They just want print flush left, and it defaults to sorting or to center. I'm sorry. And also like be able to add style, bold, italic options for the text. You can do them like I said for like the mark boxes, or no, you can't. I mean, you can adjust it for everything, and certain things, but basically they want us on a per box thing is like, okay, I want this one italics, that one not. So basically just more control over text for all the boxes. And the narrative reports for ancestors, they generally won't show your half siblings. So they'll show, your parents and their kids, grandparents, their kids, but if one of them had another spouse, it won't show the half siblings. And here I said have a descendant style chart that will show the siblings for both couples. So if you do the children, if you have a couple, so okay, here are their children. Okay, this person's married to so and so, and here are her or his siblings. You know, that's why I said a descendant style chart report, since it technically isn't a descendants thing. And here having that option to export to HTML for charts, because some charts can get big, and to save as one, like for HTML, and even sometimes as an image file, uh, there's size limitations. Well, HTML, you don't have that limitation. Search, just be able to find people with no first name or surname. You may have people entered in as just a wife, Sally. Okay, so if you want to look for people with no surname, you can't do that. I mean, I've resorted to, using those 5 underscores. So if I look up here, it's like, okay, so, here's, no, here's people that, okay, I don't know what their surname is. So, but if you just had just Ann entered, you'd really have no way of finding them. Sources now. Auto combine identical citations for the same person. Those probably came, if you maybe on Ancestry attached the same citation more than once. You forgot to add it, so it can automatically merge them for you. Have the publisher location and sources tied to the place database. This is for getting, so what I like about the place name database is you can get consistent spelling for places. But if you go into a source, and let me just open up one here. Yeah, and if I go to edit the source, publisher location. See, here it's just however they entered it. They'd like this to be in the same format that the place name database would be. So it'd be Provo, whatever county that's in Utah, spelled out USA. So they'd like this publisher location be able to tie it into the place name database. And be able to unlink multiple citations from a person at once. So if some of these are made bogus, I mean, you can right click, unlink it, but they'd basically say, well, I'd like to say do these 4 and unlink them. Okay, so for sync options now, they'd like to be able to privatize an individual because anything they mark private will not sync with Ancestry. That really only applies to facts. You can privatize the birth and date so that it would appear living. You could even privatize the name so that the name wouldn't show up, but it still shows someone is there. So basically, they'd want to privatize an individual so it doesn't show up on Ancestry at all. Be able to sync web links. That's these things, over here. And then also Ancestry has web links, so you can add in web links for, whatever, but they don't sync. A more detailed pre-sync log and detailed post-sync log verification report. I think that's kind of just more details as to what will change and what did change. If the if the sync fails, basically have Ancestry ignore everything and then until it gets confirmation, so if you do a sync again. Be able to sync my tree tags. Those are tags that are on Ancestry. Have them be able to sync to Family Tree Maker and then vice versa. Have the pre-sync summary of the sync log. Basically, want something so it would auto save that. Have the Ancestry DNA matches sync because you can connect matches on your tree on Ancestry. Have that information sync. With the new two-factor authentication, with Family Tree Maker, it doesn't always, if you check the remember this device, it doesn't always remember that. So, option to export the sync log as a CSV file. Right now, you've got an option to save it as a PDF. And be able to sync additional media fields. This is something new on Ancestry. And I believe I popped up that, yeah. The title goes over to caption currently, the date, and the description, but if you enter the location on Ancestry or assign a category, those do not sync, category and location. So they'd like those to sync and go both ways. Tasks. On the task area, basically have a notes area. So you can basically provide more extended descriptions. Because, when you go to a task, it's, you got like just this area basically to have a notes area for this. So you can do, maybe, okay, I've done maybe this much so far, I haven't fully done everything, we're just about there. This is long, but on tree view, they like to just say last time you viewed a profile. So if you click on someone, just say, okay, when was the last time I was on this person or this person? So when's the last time I looked at this information? Just have like a little time date field or so in tree view, allow hourglass view a tree. Okay, that's on the person view because it defaults here to the pedigree, and basically they'd like a view more like this, more like this when doing that. And then, or oh no, that's when they want the hourglass, kind of like the chart. So husband one side, wife and family. That's right. That's what that one's about. Because right now you tend to only see one family, and then you click on the other one to see their family. So, option has sliding bars rather than manually dragging. Because right now, like I said, if you move this, you kind of click and drag. They'd like to have sliding bars. You could do it. Not say make that an option. I mean, me personally, I don't mind dragging and dropping, but different people with different accessibility levels, that can be more difficult. And lastly, on Tree Vault, one allow browser-based access to it. Because right now you'd need a smartphone or a tablet to access it. Basically, someone just like to be able to access on a web page. Allow a bigger arrow on the status icon when updating. Because like I said, that icon can be kind of small. And since we're all tend to be older, have these icons, see that's more evident on the Ancestry one than that one. it can be kind of tough to determine when it's actually updating or when it isn't sync. Be able to prioritize which media gets stored on Tree Vault. Because this be say like, because if you got that mid grade where you store the 10 gig of media, well, it's like me, I've got 15 gig of media, so I either gotta go up to the next plan, or basically it'll store 10 gig of media, and then anything after that, well, it won't do it. Basically, they say, okay, I know I've only got 10 gig. I want you to prioritize this media first. So maybe the ancestry citation media is like, okay, I can always download that again later, if needed. And then when selecting compact, if Tree Vault is updating, proceed with the compact once Tree Vault is finished. Because yeah, if you've been doing a bunch of changes and then say, okay, I want to compact, well, if Tree Vault is busy, it'll just say I can't compact right now, even though it could be done in 5 seconds with Tree Vault. But basically, just say okay, that's fine, but just proceed with compact once you're done. So that's what that one is all about. So, like I said, when you vote on them, just hit submit. You type in your email address, you'll get an email confirmation. So you can always go back and edit your responses. If later on you write, maybe someone tells you about this, and it's like, oh yeah, I would like that feature. Or, I thought about maybe I really don't care about this feature. You can go back and edit your responses up until it's closed, and you'll be open at least through February 27th, maybe 28th, because Roots Tech will start on the 29th, and goes through March 2nd. So this will be presented to the MacKiev personnel during Roots Tech. So enjoy and be sure to vote, and tell your friends that use Family Tree Maker to vote too. You can just send them the link. That's fine. So take care.